Okay, so we have understood that how a quadratic equation is represented, and we have also understood how to deduce, how to detect that an equation, an expression written is a quadratic or not. Okay. Now let us solve the second question of the practice sheet. Second question says, in each of the following determine whether the given values are solutions of the given equation or not. Okay. So this question says, in each of the following determine whether the given values are solutions of the equation or not. Okay. So in the first term, in the first expression, it is given x square plus x plus 1 is equals to 0 and a semicolon, x is equals to 0 comma x is equals to 1. Okay. So in this question we need to deduce that whether the value of x, values given for x, are the solution of this equation or not, and we have understood what exactly is meant by solution. So question number 2, the first expression given is x square plus x plus 1 is equals to 0 and semicolon, x is equals to 0 comma x is equals to 1, and we need to check whether these two values are the solutions of this quadratic equation or not. What are the solutions of the quadratic equation? What is meant by the solution? We have just written that solution of a quadratic equation means the zero of quadratic polynomial will be the solution of quadratic equation. Okay. So it means the quadratic polynomial from which this quadratic equation is formed. Okay. What is the quadratic polynomial from which this equation is formed? The quadratic polynomial is this one, x square plus x plus 1. So it means the polynomial px is x square plus x plus 1. This is the quadratic polynomial from which the equation is formed. Okay. And what will be the solutions of this quadratic equation? The zero of this polynomial will be known as the solutions of this quadratic equation. We have two values, x is equals to 0 and x is equals to 1. We need to check whether these two values are solutions of this quadratic equation, or it implies that we need to check whether these two values, x is equals to 0 and x is equals to 1, are the zeros of this polynomial. Okay. हमें चेक करने को कहा गया है कि ये दोनों इसके सॉल्यूशंस है या नहीं. इट मीन्स इनडायरेक्टली हमसे क्या कहा जा रहा है? इनडायरेक्टली इट सेज आपको ये चेक करना है whether these two values are zeros of this polynomial or not. So I will say that if x is equals to 0 and x is equals to 1 are zeros of p of x, then definitely they will be the solution or roots of quadratic equation. मतलब अगर ये दोनों वैल्यूज इस पॉलिनोमियल के जीरोस हो जाते हैं तब हम कहेंगे दैट ये दोनों वैल्यूज इस क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन के सॉल्यूशंस हैं, या फिर ये दोनों वैल्यूज इस क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन के रूट्स हैं. ओके. रूट्स एंड टर्म्स, रूट्स एंड सॉल्यूशन आर यूज्ड इंटरचेंजेबली. ओके. ये दोनों टर्म्स इंटरचेंजेबल है, ये दोनों का मतलब सेम है. रूट्स भी वही होता है, जीरोस भी वही होता है. सो लेट अस चेक वेदर दीज टू वैल्यूज आर जीरोस ऑफ दिस पॉलिनोमियल और नॉट. हाउ कैन वी चेक दिस? वी विल substitute the value of x in this polynomial. So we have first x is equals to 0. So p of 0 will become 0 square plus 0 plus 1. This is equals to 1. So p of 0 is equals to 1. It means p of 0 is not equals to 0. Okay, p of 0 0 nahi hai, 1 hai. It means it's a non-zero value. Hence, if x is equals to 0 is not a 0 of this polynomial, then definitely it is not a solution of this quadratic equation, or definitely it is not a root of this quadratic equation. Hence, I will say x is equals to 0 is not a solution oblique root of quadratic equation. Okay, so x is equals to 0 तो नहीं है. Now let us check for x is equals to 1. So when x is equals to 1, x is equals to 1 में p of 1 will be equals to 1 square plus 1 plus 1, which is equals to 3, and definitely p of 1 is not equal to 0. इसका मतलब x is equals to 1 भी इस पॉलिनोमियल का 0 नहीं है, और अगर x is equals to 1 इस पॉलिनोमियल का 0 नहीं है, इट मीन्स x is equals to 1 इस क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन का सॉल्यूशन नहीं है. x is equals to 1 इस क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन का रूट नहीं है. ओके, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दीज टू टर्म्स, द सॉल्यूशन एंड रूट एंड 0. जब आप इस चैप्टर में काफी डिटेल में चले जाएंगे, कुछ आगे पढ़ लेंगे, देन यू विल गेट कंफ्यूज्ड what is the 0 of the polynomial and what is the root of the quadratic equation. Okay, so try to clarify this doubt here only. That's why I am repeating the terms again and again, so that ये चीज आपको याद हो जाए exactly what is meant by roots and what is meant by the solutions. Okay, so this is the in this way we need to solve the first part. Let us solve the second part also. Second part. The second part is x square minus 3 root 3 x plus 6 is equals to 0, and we have two values, x is equals to root 3 and x is equals to minus 2 root 3. So we need to check whether these two are the solutions of this quadratic equation or not, or whether these two are the roots of this quadratic equation or not. So how can we check? First we need to identify the quadratic polynomial. What is the quadratic polynomial? This is the quadratic polynomial. So the quadratic polynomial is p of x is equals to x square minus 3 root 3 x plus 6. This is the quadratic polynomial, the given quadratic polynomial. When you substitute the value of x, that is root 3. So let us first substitute the first value. So p of root 3 is equals to root 3 square minus 3 root 3 into root 3 plus 6. Now root 3 square means root 3 into root 3 is 3, minus root 3 into root 3 is again 3, and in 3 into 3 will give you 9, and plus 6, and you will find this is equals to 0. Okay, all these terms will get cancelled out, and you will say that p of root 3 is equals to 0. And if p of root 3 is equals to 0, then this x is equals to root 3 is a 0 of this polynomial, and this x is equals to root 3 is a solution of this quadratic equation, or the root of this quadratic equation. Hence I can say, hence x is equals to root 3 is a solution of quadratic equation. Okay, it is a solution of quadratic equation. Similarly, let us check x is equals to minus 2 root 3. So p of minus 2 root 3 will be equals to minus 2 root 3 square minus 3 root 3 into minus 2 root 3 plus 6, and this will give you 3 root 3 into root 3 is 3 and 2 2s are 4, so 4 into 3 will give you 12. So 12 minus 2 into 3, this minus and minus will become plus, then 2 into 3 is 6, then root 3 into root 3 is 3, so 6 into 3 will give you 18 and plus 6. Okay, in this way we need to reduce, and this will become 36. Hence I will say that P of minus 2 root 3 is definitely not equal to 0. Okay, it is definitely not equal to 0, and if it is not equal to 0, it means this minus 2 root 3 is not a solution of this quadratic equation. Okay, or it is not a root of this quadratic equation because it is not the 0 of this polynomial. Okay, so in second part only x is equals to root 3 is a 0, but x is equals to solution, and x is equals to minus 2 root 3 is not a solution of this quadratic equation. Okay, so in this question we have conceptualized and we have understood what is the solution of an quadratic equation and what exactly is the relation between the 0 of the polynomial and solution of the quadratic equation. Okay, so this is the second part. We have completed the second part. It contains only 2 subparts. Okay, first you can note this, then we will discuss the third part, which is very interesting. Okay, so till now we have understood the representation of quadratic equation, the solutions of quadratic equation. Now we will going to use the quadratic equation to solve some practical life situations. As we have understood in the linear equations in 2 variables, that some of the practical problems, practical situations can be written down mathematically in the form of equations. Similarly, we can use quadratic equations also to determine some of the to solve some of the practical problems. So in the third question we will going to understand how to write a practical problem into a quadratic equation in mathematical terms. Okay, so let us solve the third question. Third question says, represent the following situations in the form of quadratic equations. So there are some situations given, you need to represent them in the form of quadratic equations. The first situation given is, so question number 3, the first situation, question number 3, first situation. First situation given is, A and B together have 45 marbles. Both of them lost 5 marbles each, and the product of the number of marbles they now have is 124. We would like to find out how many marbles they had to start with. Okay, so here given a practical problem that A and B are 2 persons. Okay, the 2 persons together have 45 marbles. It means the number of marbles with A and number of marbles with B in total is 45. Both of them lost 5 marbles each. Okay, so both of them lost 5 marbles. So A lost his 5 marbles and B lost his 5 marbles. Now, and the product of the marbles they have now is 124. So okay, so after losing 5 marbles, the product of their marbles is equals to 124. So we need to determine how many marbles they had initially. Okay, कितने marbles से उन्हें start करना है. So by reading the first condition, it says A and B together have 45 marbles. So by just reading this condition, we can say let the marbles with A and B is 45. So let us say let marbles with A is equals to X. Okay, because we don't know how many marbles A does have, okay, and how many marbles B does have. Just we know that the total of their marbles is 45. So I have assumed let the marbles with A is x, and we don't know the marbles with y also, b also. So we will say let marbles with b is equals to y. So A has x marbles and B has y marbles. This is just a basic term that we have wrote on the basis of our knowledge from the linear equations in two variables that represent one situation with x and other with y. So we have written this equation, this condition. Now based on the given condition that A and B together have 45 marbles, I can write A plus B, that is x plus y is equals to 45. Okay, I can write x plus y is equals to 45, and if x plus y is equals to 45, then y is equals to what? It is 45 minus x. Okay, it is 45 minus x. Now, so the number of marbles with A is x, but the number of marbles with B is what? It is not y. Now we will say the number of marbles with B is 45 minus x. Okay, now we can say the marbles with B is 45. So the marbles minus x. Now why I have written it as 45 minus x? Why not y? Why this 45 minus x? It's because in quadratic equations we will going to deal with only those equations which contain one variable. Okay, I am talking about quadratic equations. We will going to discuss, we will going to use only those quadratic equations which have one variable. So we need to convert all the situations into one variable only. We need to somehow eliminate this y or any other variable that is occurring apart from x, or any single variable you can choose. Here I have eliminated y. Why? Because we need only one variable. You can either eliminate x also. If you like, you can choose that the marbles with y, B is y and marbles with A is not x. It is it will become 45 minus y. Okay, so in this manner also you can write. So please remember this, always when you solve the quadratic equations you need to use only one variable. That's why I have eliminated this y. This expression, this condition is very important. Okay, so we have marbles with A is x and marbles with B is 45 minus x. Now it says both of them lost 5 marbles each. So initially A has x marbles. So if A lose 5 marbles, then the marbles left with A. So the situation after losing 5 marbles, the situation after losing 5 marbles will be that A will have A's marbles will be x minus 5. Simple, x minus 5, because A lost 5 marbles, तो उसने 5 marbles खो दिए, तो बचे कितने? 5. फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपके पास 10 टॉफीज हैं, आपने 2 टॉफी खा ली या 2 टॉफी घुमा दी, then how many toffees you left with? You will left with 10 minus 2. Similarly, A left with only 5, x minus 5 number of marbles. And what is the marbles with B? So B's marbles will be equals to, B initially has 45 minus x marbles, so we will say it will be 45 minus x. This was the initial number of marbles minus 5. Okay, so in all B will going to have 40 minus x number of marbles. So this is the marbles that A have, this is the marbles that B have. Now it says, and the product of number of marbles they now have. So after losing 5 marbles, the product of their marbles is equals to 124. So what is the number of marbles with A? A has this marbles and B has this marbles. So product of these marbles is x minus 5 into 40 minus x is equals to 124. Okay, this is equals to 124. Now let us simplify this. So x into 40 will give you 40x. X into x will give you minus x square. Minus 5 into 40. So minus 5 into 40 is minus 200. So minus 200. Then minus 5 into minus x will give you plus 5x is equals to 124. So when you simplify this, it will become minus x square. Then 40x and 5x will give you 45x. And minus, this is 200. When you bring this 124 to the LHS side, it will become minus 324 is equals to 0. So this is the expression. Okay, this is obtained an equation. Is this a quadratic equation? We can check this. The quadratic polynomial, the polynomial is this one. This polynomial has only one variable, that is x. This polynomial has degree equals to 2. This polynomial has coefficient of x square non-zero. Hence, this is a quadratic polynomial and this is a quadratic equation. So by solving this quadratic equation, by finding out the solutions of this quadratic equation, we can determine the number of marbles with A as well as with B. Okay, we just need to determine the value of this x. If we determine the value of x, there will be the number of marbles with A, and 45 minus x will give you the number of marbles with B. So in this manner, we have got this quadratic equation, and this is the representation of this practical problem. This is the mathematical representation in terms of quadratic equations. We haven't understood the methods of solving quadratic equation. In this question, we just need to determine the quadratic equation. Hence, for this part, we will say this is our answer. This is our answer. We just need to solve it till here only. इसके आगे हमें सॉल्व नहीं करना, बिकॉज हमने मेथड नहीं सीखा है कि इस क्वाड्रेटिक इक्वेशन को सॉल्व कैसे किया जाता है. ओके, सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. नाउ लेट अस अंडरस्टैंड द सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. Second part is a toy company produces a certain number of toys in a day. Okay, so there is a toy company which produces some number of toys in a day. The cost of production of each toy was found to be 55 minus number of toys produced. Okay, so there is a situation that the cost of production of each toy is 55 minus number of toys produced. Okay, so on a particular day, the total cost of production is rupees 750. So it says the total cost of production is rupees 750 for some particular day. Now it says there is a company which produces some number of toys. Okay, and the cost of production is 55 minus number of toys. So what we need to determine, we would like to find out number of toys produced on that day. Okay, so some particular day the total cost of production was rupees 750. Now the total cost of production means what? Total cost of production means number of toys produced into cost of each toy. For example, I buy 10 pencils. Each pencil costs 5 rupees. So how much cost I need to pay, how much money I need to pay? 5 into 10. In the similar manner, if I produce 10 toys and the cost of producing each toy is 5 rupees, then how much will be the total cost of production? It will be equals to number of toys into cost of production of each toy. Okay, so in this question, we need to determine the number of toys. So what will be our variable? Our variable will definitely be number of toys. So let us say, let number of toys is equals to x. Number of toys produced on that day. Which day? the day for which the total cost of production is rupees 750. So let number of toys is X. Now the condition given is what? A toy company produces a certain number of toy in a day. The cost of production of each toy was found to be 55 minus number of toys. So if X number of toys are produced, so what is the cost of production of each toy? So cost of production of each toy will be equals to 55 minus number of toys produced. Number of toy is X. So 55 minus X. Okay? 55 minus X is the cost of production of each toy in rupees. This is in rupees. This is number of toys. So this is in rupees. Cost of production of each toy. Now on that day the total cost of production. Now what is total cost of production? Total cost of production will be equals to number of toys produced into cost of each toy. Okay, this will be known as the total cost of production. Number of toys produced into cost of each toy. And it is given the total cost of production is rupees 750. So in place of total cost of production, I can write rupees 750. This is equals to number of toys produced. How many toys are produced? X number of toys are produced. So in place of number of toys, I can write X into what is the cost of each toy? Cost of each toy is 55 minus X. So in place of cost of each toy, I can write it as 55 minus X. Okay. So by simplifying this, you will get minus X square plus 55 X minus 750 is equals to 0. This is the quadratic equation. This is the mathematical representation of the given problem, okay, given situation. So in this manner we have framed this problem mathematically. Now why we have framed this equation? Because in the question it is written we would like to find out number of toys produced on that day. Which day? For which the total cost of production is rupees 750. So X represents the number of toys produced on the day for which the total cost of production is rupees 750, and by solving this equation we can determine the value of X, that is number of toys produced. Okay. So in this manner we need to solve the second question. We just need to identify the equation, the mathematical representation. So this will be our answer. This will be our answer. Now the third part of question number 3. The area of a rectangular plot is 528 meters square. The length of the plot is one more than twice its breadth. So the length of the plot is one more than twice its breadth. So we need to find the length and breadth of the plot. Length and breadth of the plot we need to determine. So let us solve the third part. Question number 3. Third part of question number 3. It is simply given that rectangular plot है, एक rectangular plot में area कितना है 528. Now if it is a rectangular plot, then we will draw this rectangular plot like this. This is a rectangular plot. The rectangular plot will going to have some length, let us say L, and some breadth as B. Okay. Let us say L is the length and breadth is B. Now if area is 528, what is the area of rectangular plot? It will be the area of rectangle. Area of rectangle is length into breadth. So in this case also, length into breadth. So L into B is equals to 528. So the length into breadth is 528. Now one more condition is given. The length of the plot, this length is 1 more than twice the breadth. So this is length L, this is breadth B. It is saying that length is more than breadth, then definitely if breadth is doubled, okay, it says length is 1 more than twice of breadth. So what will be the twice of breadth? Twice of breadth will be 2 times of B. This will be the twice of breadth. And length is equals to what? 1 more than this. 1 more than this means if I add 1 to this breadth, it will become equal to length. Okay, the situation is very simple. The length and breadth are related in some manner. How they are related? That length is equals to 1 more than twice the breadth. So twice the breadth means 2 times of B, and 1 more than this means plus 1. So this plus 1 will become equal to this. It means length is given as 2B plus 1. This is the condition. So length is equals to 2B plus 1 is the condition. So in place of L, in place of this L, I can substitute this value of L. Why? Because as I have said that in quadratic equations you need to deal with only one variable. You simply need to deal with only one variable. That's why we will substitute substitute the value of L in this equation. So when we substitute the value of L in this equation, it will become 2B plus 1 into B is equals to 528. So when you multiply this, 2B into B will give you 2B square plus 1 into B will give you B and minus 528 equals to 0. So this will be the quadratic equation so obtained for this practical problem. Now why we have found this equation? It contains the variable B. So by solving this equation we will get the value of B. Okay, B is the breadth, and if we get the value of B we can determine the value of L also, because L is equals to 2B plus 1. So when we solve this equation we can get the value of L and B, both the values. So for this case this will be our answer. The quadratic equation will look something like this, or you can use X also. Any variable which you like you can use. I have used L and B because it is convenient that we know what is L and what is B. That's why I have used L and B. You can use other variables also. So in this manner you need to solve the third part of question number 3. So we have 3 more parts. First note this, then we will continue.